Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2455, I Only Recognize You, 1. However, Fushi's tone suddenly became deep, and even the steam from the hot spring seemed to freeze for a moment. But I'm not 100% sure. As for that little guy named Zhang Yi, all I can see about his future is chaos. It was a fog that even I couldn't see through. This shows that he is not subject to the cycle of fate. Bai Longzi froze, staring at Zhang Yi in disbelief. Outside of fate? Doesn't that mean he can't even control the creator? Bai Longzi suddenly remembered that Zhang Yi had said before that he was a reborn person. Bai Longzi initially didn't take it seriously. Being resurrected after death is not a big deal. After all, intelligent beings experience hallucinations when they are on the verge of death, and then revive and develop superpowers. This can also be called resurrection. However, it would be unusual to reverse time and be reborn at other points in the timeline. Fushi closed his eyes, his voice gradually lowering. Perhaps this is the cruelty of fate. Those outside of fate are either the key to salvation or the starting point of destruction. I can't see through his destiny, so he might be able to create a miracle. Bai Longzi fell silent. Fushi's ability is immortality. Indeed, as he said, he has no other special abilities besides living a very long life. However, if a life form could truly live for 200 million years, even a mere paramecium would evolve to an unimaginable degree. Therefore, Fushi created a decoder known to humankind as the 8 trigrams to interpret the rules of the universe. His eyes can see the past and the future through the long river of fate. Fushi is already approaching the level of Kagago, the creator of the material world. Kagago created code, and he understands code. The person he couldn't see through is also a loophole in Kagago's program, a being similar to, or even more troublesome than, the Drucker. Bai Longzi's expression changed slightly. He lowered his head, his eyes filled with an uncertain light. After a long silence, he took a deep breath and said to Fushi in a deep voice, I understand. I will try my best to raise this generation of 6. Not long after, Zhang Yi and the others followed Heilong Yuanjing away from the Dragon Clan's sacred land. Passing through towering mountains, we gradually returned to the outside world. Yuanjing spoke slowly from the side, her tone carrying a faint meaning. You are very lucky to have received the promise of Ancestor Fushi. In the future, no matter what calamities you encounter, if you really have unbearable difficulties, you can come to the Dragon Clan for refuge. Our Dragon Clan will protect you and give you a glimmer of hope. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi breathed a sigh of relief, and a sense of gratitude, and awe welled up within him. Being protected by the dragons is indeed a great guarantee. However, he still had many questions, especially about the lives of the dragons and their culture. He couldn't help but ask Yuanjing, why haven't we encountered any other dragons along the way? I thought the dragon race was a large one. Why is it so quiet? Yuanjing glanced at him and said calmly, dragons are long-lived species, with lifespans often reaching thousands of years. Therefore, we prefer stillness to movement. These mountains and caves you see are the dwelling places of the dragon race for generations. Unlike humans, we don't travel in groups and make a lot of noise. We focus on inner cultivation and immerse ourselves in the long years. He paused, then added, you can think of this space as a paradise for the dragons. There is no interference from other races here, and we rarely come out to move around. Zhang Yi nodded. Although he didn't quite understand, he could sense the seriousness and pride in Yuanjing's words. Dragons are indeed a different kind of being from humans, silent, ancient, and ancient. Led by Yuanjing, they gradually returned to the underground world of the Qinling Mountains. Looking back, everything in the Dragon Kingdom seemed mysterious and profound. Zhang Yi felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. The road ahead might be full of challenges. In any case, now that they have the protection of the dragons, their future days will at least be more secure, and they won't have to worry too much. It feels pretty good to have someone to rely on. After returning from the Dragon Kingdom, Zhang Yi, Yang Xinxin, and Guan Longyue had different states of mind. That meeting with Fuxi not only allowed them to glimpse the truth of a higher civilization, but also made Zhang Yi realize one thing completely: the Huaxiu Kingdom must become strong as quickly as possible. Although the Dragon Clan promised to help, Fuxi's words about the final destiny still echoed in their ears. That sense of fatalistic destruction made Zhang Yi realize that no external force could be relied upon. Only by making the entire Huaxiu Kingdom strong enough to survive the Drucker's attack can there be a glimmer of hope. Black Dragon didn't like staying in the Dragon Clan all the time. His free-spirited nature led him to come to the land world 500 years ago. Therefore, he and Guan Longyue returned to Xingjing together. When they parted, Guan Longyue asked Zhang Yi what his plans were for the future. Zhang Yi looked at her and slowly said, "After we get back, immediately convene a high-level meeting of the Huaxiu Kingdom. Summon all the top combat forces and the supreme commanders of the 6 major regions. We must plan for the future." Guan Longyue nodded. "Okay. This is a matter of great importance, and the Huaxiu Kingdom as a whole should indeed not conceal anything." The two sides parted ways over the Qinling Mountains, agreeing to immediately contact all parties and hold a meeting upon their return. Zhang Yi took Yang Xinxin back to Tianhai City. On the way, he casually asked Yang Xinxin, "What are your thoughts when you hear that I am a reincarnated person?" "Thoughts?" Yang Xinxin smiled and looked at Zhang Yi. "I just want to know, brother, when were you reborn?" She tilted her head, her eyes full of curiosity. "Because since I've known you, I haven't found any ability to predict the future in you." Zhang Yi. He touched his nose helplessly. He had only met Yang Xinxin a few months after the apocalypse. "I was reborn a month after the apocalypse. I didn't tell you before because I wasn't strong enough back then, and I was afraid of being captured and used for human experiments. Later, there were many more extraordinary people in the world, all kinds of strange people. I felt that being reborn wasn't such an outrageous thing, so I stopped talking about it." Yang Xinxin looked at Zhang Yi with tenderness in her eyes, her obsidian-like eyes rippling slightly. "To me, a brother is a brother. It doesn't matter whether you are a reincarnated person or a transmigrate. I only recognize you." Chapter 2456, I only recognize you, too. After hearing Yang Xinxin's words, Zhang Yi smiled faintly. "That's right. It doesn't matter who they were in the past. The important thing is that they're still the same people they knew when they first met, the family they have been with all along. Let's go. We've come into contact with several advanced civilizations in the past few days, absorbing a great deal of knowledge. It's time we shared this information. We can't just look after the people in the 6 major regions all the time. We also need to encourage them to work hard and improve themselves." Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin quickly returned to Tianhai City, and then the two of them directly contacted the senior executives of various regions in the living room to start an online meeting. This meeting utilized a state-of-the-art global communication system. Virtual projections of each high-ranking official were displayed in Zhang Yi's living room. The air froze, the atmosphere solemn. The high-ranking officials of Huaxiu Kingdom all knew Zhang Yi's personality. He was a very lazy person and disliked those messy meetings the most. Therefore, when he initiates a meeting and summons everyone, it must be because something major has happened. No one dared to delay, and at the same time, everyone felt a little uneasy. At this moment, the leaders and strongest combat forces of the 6 regions were all present. In the Xingjing region, Guan Longyue presided over the meeting, with Shang Dawen and the Supreme Commander Meng Yuanjun standing side by side. The person from the Northeast region is Luya Dao Jun Han Shanzhua. He still has his neat short hair, which is close to his scalp like a gourd. He is wearing a shiny leather jacket, and his hands are crossed in front of his chest, with a deep expression. Beside him, Ji Chonghai, the supreme commander of the northeast region, remained as calm as a mountain. Xiao Lai, the newly appointed commander of the northwest region. Juegua and Luozhua, brothers from the southwest region, sat side by side. The two looked exactly alike, except that one had a serene face and the other had a shrewd look in his eyes. Li Guangxiao, from the East China Sea region, sat upright on the command platform of the giant ship, with images of Xuanwu and Zhuke beside him. The two extraordinary beings stood silently behind him, exuding an imposing aura. Zhu Zheng from the Jiangnan region had a cold and stern expression. Zhu Yu, the Nuba beside him, leaned lazily against the back of her chair, while Tu Yunlai, the newly promoted Zhurong of the Ypsilon level, was looking down at his terminal, his whole body flashing like a ball of flame. This meeting brought together the most powerful people in the entire Huaxu Kingdom, both in terms of military strength and power. After the Great War with the Wulwan Empire, the national strength of Huaxu Kingdom rose to a terrifying level. Despite this incredibly star-studded lineup, everyone's attention was focused on one person. Everyone was waiting for Zhang Yi to speak and explain the purpose of today's meeting. Zhang Yi appeared on the central projection screen. After returning home, he had taken off his outer clothes and was only wearing a close-fitting black combat uniform. Unlike the others, he was dressed casually and comfortably, while Yang Xinxin sat next to him in a black dress. Yet no one dared to criticize their attire for not being dignified enough. Zhang Yi surveyed the entire room with an extremely calm expression, but his eyes held a sharpness that made it impossible to look directly at him. Everyone. His voice was low, yet it possessed a power that penetrated the heart. From today onwards, we will enter a true era of war preparedness. He paused, then changed the subject. I learned some truths about the future from Fuxi, the ancestor of the Qinling dragon clan. At that moment, the leaders of the 6 regions almost instinctively held their breath. Even Han Shanzhua, who was usually the most arrogant, restrained his expression and sat up straight. Fuxi? Isn't that the name of the mythical human emperor? Someone murmured softly, but did not interrupt Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi continued. As is well known, the Druk gods have not been completely wiped out. They are gradually recovering. In the not-too-distant future, after the seal is broken, they will return to the material world. The limitations imposed on ancient civilizations by the entire material world are also weakening, and civilizations similar to the Wulwan Empire that harbor ill will towards us will emerge one after another. If we don't prepare in advance, the Huaxu Kingdom, and even the entire human civilization, may be completely swallowed up within 50 years. His tone wasn't exaggerated, but it sent a chill down one's spine. Guan Longyue's expression changed slightly, while Meng Yuanjun crossed his arms and frowned deeply. Xiao Lai remained silent for a moment, then asked in a low voice, "Did someone from the dragon race tell you this?" Zhang Yi nodded. "That's right." Fuxi said it himself. The dragon clan fought against the Druk god clan for hundreds of millions of years, and they know what kind of enemy they were. Shang Dawen couldn't help but ask, "Then, is the dragon clan willing to help us?" Zhang Yi said calmly, "They will offer shelter in critical moments, but that's not a guarantee of survival." Fuxi made it very clear. Only humanity itself can save humanity. A brief silence fell over the chamber. Half a minute later, Han Shanzhua from the northeast region chuckled softly, his voice low and deep. That means God hasn't given up on us yet." Zhang Yi nodded slightly. "That's right. So, I've decided to open up the spiritual meditation system left behind by the lunar civilization." He waved his hand, and projections of hundreds of energy data files appeared in front of everyone. That was a meditation method bestowed upon Zhang Yi by the silver moon throne on the moon. This system was a gift I received from the advanced civilization of the Lunarians when I went to the moon. They have a long history and have developed a systematic cultivation method for people with supernatural abilities. This meditation method allows superhumans to rapidly expand their mental domain, enhance their affinity with the ether, and shorten their advancement time. I have adapted it to human physiological structure. I authorize the 6 regional research institutes and the Legion's top leadership to fully promote this initiative. From today onwards, all ability users of the Epsilon level or above must undergo meditation training. Those below the Epsilon level will be selected by each district based on their talents. Within 6 months, I want to see the overall national superpower index increase by 15 percentage points. His voice was calm, yet as resonant as a great bell. The top executives of the 6 regions could hardly believe their ears when they heard this. No, Zhang-Yi, you're such a stingy guy. You'd pluck a feather from every passing goose. When did you become so generous? Because of Zhang Yi's reputation, the meeting room was completely silent. Everyone looked at each other, wondering if Zhang Yi had some kind of conspiracy. Li Changgong, who was attending the meeting with the East China Sea region, was the first to speak. Are you really going to reveal the Moon People's meditation method? Won't this thing have any side effects? Zhang Yi rolled his eyes. Resources can be hidden, but meditation techniques cannot. Resources are never enough for anyone, but meditation techniques can make everyone stronger. What I need is not a few strong individuals, but an entire civilization capable of fighting. Although we have had healthy competition in the past, when faced with a threat that wants to wipe out our people, we still have to join forces. That is the smartest thing to do. Chapter 2457, I Only Recognize You 3. Zhang Yi is open and honest, and has nothing to hide. Besides, with my current ability index of 50,000, if I really wanted to scheme against you, would I need to go to such great lengths? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. I've shared the electronic document in the group. You can download and view it yourselves. Take it or leave it. Zhang Yi rolled his eyes, leaned back on the sofa, and lazily sipped his coffee as he spoke. It's rare that he's given them a chance to become stronger, even if it means using them as cannon fodder, out of consideration for their kinship. And they're still so suspicious? Zhang Yi didn't really have much affection for them. But relationships between people are inherently based on the exchange of benefits. After they become stronger, they can serve as cannon fodder or laborers for Zhang Yi in future wars. But they also have a chance to survive, which is perfectly fair. When everyone heard that Zhang Yi's ability index had exceeded 50,000 points, they were all speechless with surprise. 50,000, 50,000 points. You've reached the night level? Li Changgong stood up in surprise. He has broken through to 32,000 points, reaching the White Bishop realm. This is thanks to the abundant resources he gained during the conquest of the Ulyan Empire. He was initially quite pleased with himself, believing he was a second-tier expert in Huashu Kingdom, second only to Zhang Yi and Hutu. But now, what did he hear? Zhang Yi, with 50,000 points, has a combat power nearly 20,000 points higher than him. Is this even a human being? A knight, on par with Zhenglu, the Grand Marshal of the Wulwan Empire. An existence capable of single-handedly sweeping through the entire Huashu Kingdom. Now that such a monster has been born in the Kingdom of Huashu, how could everyone not be shocked? But beyond the shock, there was more joy. Zhang Yi was indeed a bit sneaky, but he would generally not take the initiative to attack anyone. They cherish the bonds of kinship with their compatriots and will protect them when they encounter trouble. Therefore, despite the jealousy, it is ultimately a good thing. Li Changgong sat down with a somewhat blank look in his eyes, staring at Zhang Yi with a gaze full of envy and jealousy, but daring not to hate. The others looked at Zhang Yi with even more reverence. When you are more capable than those around you, they will be jealous. But when you grow to a level they cannot reach, they will look up to you. Han Shanzhou placed his hands on the table, frowned, and said seriously, I think Brother Chaos is right. His opinion is my opinion. Who agrees and who disagrees? The others glared at Han Shanzhou, their eyes clearly saying, You're such a sycophant. What business is it of yours? Zhu Zheng smiled faintly. As you all know, Chaos and I have always been of one mind and body, as close as one person. So whatever he says can represent my will and the will of the entire Jiangnan region. Flattery and praise poured in. Who would dare to be ungrateful these days? Zhang Yi rubbed his fingers together. In short, this lunar meditation method is beneficial and harmless to you. Take your time to learn it properly. How you use it is up to you. I just want to see results. Just don't ever run into trouble again, and only think of me for help. Everyone nodded, expressing their curiosity about this so-called lunar meditation method. Xiaolai immediately downloaded a copy and glanced at it. Lord Chaos, could you tell me how to use this thing? Once I learn how, can I just crush the enemy? Zhang Yi laughed as well. Whether you can crack it depends on whether you can calm your mind. If you can't have a good mindset, you might go astray on the first day. The audience burst into laughter, temporarily easing the tense atmosphere. However, Juegua from the southwest region clasped his hands in a deep bow and solemnly said, "If this method can truly connect with the sea of spiritual matter, then it is the path to transcend reincarnation. The Buddhist sect should also study it." Luo Zhuo nodded in agreement. If we can improve the overall spiritual energy, our tantric sect is willing to promote talented individuals among them. Zhang Yi nodded and said calmly, "Very good. The sooner the better." He finally surveyed the room, his tone becoming calm and resolute. "Ladies and gentlemen, the next 30 years will be the most dangerous time for human civilization. Whether they are the Druckers or those ancient civilizations that harbor ill will towards us, they are real plunderers. They won't reason with us, they won't sign agreements, and they won't show us any mercy. The only way is to transform Huashu Kingdom into a civilization that even the gods fear before they return. I urge you to remember this well. From this moment on, the war has begun. The war has begun." These words, like the sound of a war drum, resonated in everyone's heart. As soon as he finished speaking, all the projectors stood up simultaneously. The commanders and superhumans of the 6 regions responded in unison. "Understood. We will certainly follow Lord Chaos's orders." Zhang Yi nodded, satisfied with their attitude. But his gaze remained calm and resolute. He knew this was just the prologue. He couldn't control how much the strength of the superhumans in the 6 districts could improve. Offering advice and meditation methods was the limit he was willing to do. The real storm is approaching. From now on, he will devote more of his time to Tianhai City and himself. That evening, after the meeting ended, as night fell, Zhang Yi's villa in Tianhai City was warmly lit, with the snow outside reflecting off the thick glass windows, while the interior was filled with a reassuring and gentle atmosphere. Zhang Yi sat in the center of the living room, with a tea set and a psionic projection lamp on the long table in front of him. The soft blue light gave everyone's faces a serene color. The sofa was filled with familiar faces: Yang Xinxin, Lu Karen, Fatty Su, and Hua Hua. Even Bailey Chongqing, Deng Shintong, and several other core combatants who had followed Zhang Yi through thick and thin were present. Everyone watched Zhang Yi quietly, waiting for him to speak. Zhang Yi raised his head, his gaze sweeping across each person's face, his voice steady yet carrying an undeniable strength. "From today onwards, I will comprehensively enhance Tianhai City's overall combat capabilities." Everyone's expression changed drastically. Zhang Yi continued, "The whole world is brewing a new storm. Our enemy is no longer just alien races or remnants of civilizations on Earth, but a threat from a higher dimension. I have already mobilized the Huashu Kingdom, but everything in Tianhai City is my foundation. You are all my family and partners who have followed me for many years, and you are the ones I care about most. We must be strong enough to protect ourselves in the face of any threat." He picked up his teacup, took a small sip, and smiled faintly. "My strength has improved too quickly over the years. In just 5 years, I have covered a distance that many ancient super creatures could not cover in hundreds of years, or even in a lifetime. This also means that I need time to settle down, and during this time, I've decided to nurture you properly."
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.